All right.
How
Hello,
are you guys?
everyone. Do we have folks?
Cannot see anyone coming in yet.
All right. I'll hold up.
Actually, we do have one. We do have Max has joined, so we
Yes.
have
Yeah,
one.
Max works with me.
Okay.
Panel session was a good session.
It was, guys. You guys do a good job. It's been both interesting to be talking about your own products along with putative competitors at the same time.
I was just telling Wayne. So Taylor of all that group is the only people I've not worked with.
Hmm.
Um, and I think Rivery's doing some really cool stuff. And I can go through like each one of those. I'm like, I've worked with Mark when I was at Talent. He was at HVR. I'm like, they're phenomenal at change data capture, and Fivetran does phenomenal at SaaS to cloud integration. Socket with Nexla is really focused on data products. Uh, Justin and I work together quite closely, and I'd call him a personal friend. Is what they're doing for data ops is really up above a data integration platform, which is what we're doing. And then Rivery is doing some quite extensive stuff for SaaS, ETL, ELT, and reverse ETL. They're all if I could tell clients or companies say is understand what your needs are, because they're not, none of us are interchangeable, but there is overlap.
Okay, I think you can start. Mike, you got a number of people joining.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in here about StreamSets and unlocking enterprise data for your cloud and analytics initiatives. And I'm go through this fairly quickly. Hopefully, get to this at the end so that we can uh, cover some live Q&A and address your issues. First, for those of you that were in the main session, I'd mentioned this, but we're part of Software AG. Software AG is a 50-year-old software company, very well established in the integration space, ability to integrate applications. That's with our web methods technology. Integration of things, or IoT, with Cumulocity and TrendMiner. And then integration of processes and optimization of business processes with ARIS and Alphabet. And now StreamSets complements us with data. And that's what we'd call as the killer quad. So what we're seeing right now is going on is the drivers for cloud modernization, cloud data and analytics. This is a report that Deloitte put out last year, and they talked about how cloud has definitely accelerated with pandemic. In fact, my thesis is it's brought us forward up to 5, maybe even 10 years in some cases. And what's happening? Well, first is security is better in the cloud. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, nobody can afford the security professionals that they can. And the army of team that's all, they wake up every morning, stay up very late, worried about security. So companies are moving, I would call it defensive move to the cloud for security. The other thing it offers are really the agility and speed, the ability to turn something on, try an idea, shut it down, so fail fast. And really the data and analytics, these data-driven products and platforms, Snowflake, Databricks, unprecedented on what they are able to do with data and how well they can help organizations get insights and drive net new innovation. Simply was not possible with on-premise technology, where teams had to go to central IT to get stuff provisioned, oftentimes budget for large infrastructure cost outlays that had to be amortized over many years. No longer necessary. Cloud really is game changing. And the analytics projects are showing up in every business unit. Data and analytics teams are really focused on helping companies realize business impact, grow revenue, save money, operate more efficiently, or meet regulatory requirement much more efficiently. Every single part of the organization can benefit from better data and analytics. But the challenge is just the very nature of how these projects work. They're iterative and they're ongoing. So there's always the up when the projects start. There's always the planning and preparation as they start going and have a success. How do you improve? You bring more data to the project, and that's the iterative nature of it. And it just keeps going and going and going. Now, here's what we're seeing happening in the industry. So there are tools like we heard from Mark from Fivetran that are phenomenal at getting SaaS application data into these cloud data platforms. I would call that cloud to cloud. The data is already in a cloud environment, needs to move to another cloud environment. Data and analytics, the business analysts are able to use these tools to easily and quickly get the data over. Now, they have an expectation that has been set. But the challenge is for large enterprises and enterprises with self-managed infrastructure is that the business analysts have this expectation that it's very easy to get to the data and move it into the cloud, but they don't necessarily appreciate the enterprise, the situation in the enterprise. We're talking oftentimes decades of infrastructure built up, different technology, could be hand coding. It could be various batch integration tools. We could be, a lot of companies are dealing with the last generation of analytics, Hadoop, the generation before that, the enterprise data warehouse. They've got operational databases. They've got custom applications. This is a completely different scenario. Accessing them requires different technologies or different approaches and different level of security. And what we say is the enterprise data goes very, very deep. And there is nothing more, I would call it nothing more at the depth than the traditional legacy systems, your mainframe systems. They are still around. We are talking to many companies. What I would say is the trend of the early 2000s and into the teens was mainframes are going away. Yes, there is a large segment of the market that is retiring these. But a lot of companies are realizing what they do very well. And they're done with the, we're going to get rid of it. They're going to keep investing in it. So that's at the deepest levels. But the most common level is in the enterprise data storage, the message infrastructure, the custom applications that companies built to really fit their business. And they're not getting rid of those overnight. How do you get the data from those into your cloud analytics and infrastructure? We see three common approaches for doing this. First is, and this is the most unfortunate, what I would say is just do nothing. It's, you know, it's unfortunate, but it does happen, which is central IT teams can say is we'll get to that someday, maybe. And then business suffers on that, obviously, is if the data is not able to be included, business is not able to, the business analysts are not able to make really good holistic decisions. The other one is the custom integrations, the hand integrations. This is not really a scalable approach. It's fast, it's quick, and it's perceived cheap, but it's oftentimes the approach that creates the greatest challenge long-term, because trying to figure out what somebody wrote maybe last year, maybe even last week, it can be a challenge. And they simply aren't documented very well. And then we see a lot of people trying to use traditional tools. Informatica, very historic established vendor, a large portion of their product, Power Center, it simply does not offer robust integration or many connections into the cloud. So that just doesn't work. So those are the common approaches, which all create their own problems. And none of them address this change. We talked about data drift or shift happens. It's happening everywhere. And it is the structure of it changes, of the data. Formats, very common. I mentioned files. I'm surprised, not surprised to see just how many organizations are relying on files, JSON files, to pass data around from around the enterprise, to use it as a format as it's extracted from their applications or provided to them from their business partners. And they need to include that data in their cloud analytics. And I will say, as files are notorious for being very drifty. They change a lot. And a simple format change or structural change, it can break the process and delay the ingestion of that data into the cloud platform. And what happens with drift and breaking pipelines? First, business suffers, and we are seeing this, and we hear this a lot from our prospects that we're working with, is their business initiatives, their data and analytics initiatives are starting to slow down. And this oftentimes, I'd mentioned how the data analysts have this expectation, and they feel like, well, now when I come in for the enterprise data, I can't get to it as fast as I was getting to my data. But there's reasons for that. Work environments, we are seeing contentious going on. You can look at some Medium articles and look on LinkedIn. They're starting to see stress and strain. And it is no wonder that in this environment, we're seeing a lot of personal burnout with data engineers. And in fact, it's been ranked as one of the central IT or even biz tech roles where we're seeing some of the highest burnout. People are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. I had mentioned drift, and this is earlier on the keynote, like StreamSets got its foundation and very unique capabilities around data drift. We have a patent on the technology, and we have processors that very easy to drag and drop into a data pipeline that allows the pipeline to sense and adjust automatically to changes in the data format, the metadata, how it's defined or written up, schema, as well as the infrastructure. The way we do this and what makes us unique in the market is, first, we separate the control plane, which I would consider the brains of how the pipelines are operating and such, from the data plane. And that's the data plane remains in a customer's environment that they're managing. It's all managed by the control plane, and this is a cloud service that we operate. It's a multi-tenant service. We don't ever take customer data into our environment. We are just controlling their pipeline, so we take that management maintenance off you, and we send in a secure agent, and so we bring the integration to where the data is. And this ensures performance, it ensures security, and a variety of other things that is very important to our clients. We also have maximally, what we say is we decouple everything, processors, sources, connections. We string them together so they interoperate, but they're also decoupled and instrumented. And this is what allows our pipelines to sense, adapt to, and monitor data drift as it happens within an enterprise environment. This is a little bit more granular and looking at the platform itself and what our capabilities are. The control hub for build, operating, and monitoring the pipelines. The builds in a web interface, and the build is same build environment, whether someone's doing batch integration, streaming integration with something like Kafka, or doing change data capture, something like Oracle, CDC to Snowflake, or SQL Server to Snowflake, or even Delta Lake, whatever it may be. The engines themselves, they can be deployed on-premise in a self-managed environment. They can be deployed in a cloud environment, private EC2 instance. And then we have our transformation capability, and this is a set-based transformation. And I'll back up a little bit. We have an ingestion capability that ingests record by record. It allows us to shape data as it goes into the destination. And then once it's in the destination, we're able to do set-based transformation, be it in Spark, or a SQL environment such as Snowflake. So we're able to do transformation in flight or in the destination. The any-to-any source, this is what our pipelines look like, is design a pipeline with the logic in it, and the logic is simply going to be determining how the data is transformed in flight or how it's transformed in a processing job. I mentioned Spark. We work very well with, as you might guess, with a name like StreamSets, with queues and Kafka. We are heavily, we have a phenomenal SDK so that companies can use us to build custom integrations into their custom applications. Very common in large enterprises. I had mentioned they've built up applications to really map unique capabilities for their business. And then database, data stores, be it structured, something like Oracle, an OLTP database, or I'd call it more towards the unstructured, like the Hadoop file systems, as well as the NoSQL databases, such as MongoDB and such. The libraries, now this is another real one of our secret sauce capabilities. These are drag and drop over 70 processors that have different logic that can be put together to create actually quite complex processing and shaping of the data. Again, be it in flight or in a set-based environment in the destination. And then truly unique is this is what I would say is the no-code environment, the graphic, but we do work very well with code. We work very well with Python, Java, and others. We can make calls out and include that code, those custom libraries for a company, into their pipelines. And then this is what we do in terms of decoupling. Very easy to swap out sources and destinations while maintaining the logic in the pipeline. Couple of stories on this. One would be British Telecom. They were a Hadoop user. They'd been using StreamSets on premise. They had thousands, tens of thousands actually, of pipelines feeding their Hadoop infrastructure. They made a decision to go to AWS. They were moving to the cloud. Simply took the same pipelines, took the destinations, swapped out the destinations, and pointed them into their Amazon environment. They're able to run the pipelines concurrently with on-premise destinations as well as with the cloud destinations. Over time, they realized there were analytic services in Google that they wanted to use. It's very common for companies going to multi-cloud. I believe folks understand that each of the cloud hyperscalers have different capabilities and strengths in their environments, and they were yet again able to swap out the destinations and just add them concurrently, and they're now able to run the data pipeline, same logic. Data is showing up as it showed up before in the new environments pretty much overnight. So very powerful capability for companies to help them adapt and adjust to change as they modernize. StreamSets Cloud, it's a service, it's always on. That's the control plane. And what we say is that the data plane is being able to build and design logic that's run in a customer's environment, be it on-premise or self-managed in AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. Thank you all very much. And I would like to open it up for any questions that folks may have. Do we have any questions?
Mike, there are none in the Q&A written queue.
Okay. Great. For those that were attending, I appreciate it. Please visit our booth and please reach out at streamsets.com. I'd love to take opportunity to talk about what we could do uniquely for your own environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mike, you want me to keep the session ended or you want me to end it and have people go to the booth?
I'd prefer people go to the booth. We can do easier one-on-one there.
Okay, I'll end this session then. Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you
Thanks
for joining.